guys, so today I'll be showing you how to make a Valentine's Day cupcake bouquet. I'll be showing you how to do a really simple one. Now I've pre-done a lot of the work, but I'll be showing you step by step on exactly what you need to prepare to have the final result. So one of the things you need to have is fondant, especially red fondant, right, to be able to cover your board and do some of the other stuff. So if you have some red fondant, all you gotta do, remember, is soften it by just kneading it a little bit. And you can do it on your table, or if you don't have, you can just like use a little silicone mat like this one. So my fondant has gotten soft and pliable, so now I can actually start rolling it out. Now I just want to show you how to cover the board with this little board right here. And usually what I do, I take my little fondant, my fondant plastic rolling pin, and I start rolling it out on here. Now when I've rolled out most of it, that's when I take it and put it on top of this board. And then I sort of use some pressure as I go around smoothening. So you can use this technique to cover a cake board with fondant for anything, whether it's a cupcake bouquet or for a cake that you want to cover and have it looking really pretty. So once I get it to the edges completely, I'm gonna cut off this excess right here. So just come and sort of remove this excess. Now if you have a straight board, it's a little easier. Scallop boards tend to be a little bit, they leave these little pieces. I just go removing them. But whichever board you have, you can be able to cover your board. So just kind of, you know, make them look pretty here. So when you're doing a cupcake bouquet, it's really important to actually cover your board first with some nice looking fondant. So this is how you cover your board. You always keep this extra fondant. You can always use it for something else. You just need to cover in an airtight container or a cling film. All right, so step one is doing this little board. So I'm gonna set this aside and show you a board that I had already done. So guys, I already have some of my cupcakes ready. I have my board done already. And then my cupcakes are gonna be just regular cupcakes with red buttercream frosting on top. So what you gotta do is make sure first you align your cupcakes on the board the way you want them. So I know that I want my bouquet to look like this, and then I'm gonna have my little flower stalks here. So first I arrange them on here, knowing where they're gonna sit, okay? Then what I'm gonna do, you just need to have a little bit of buttercream frosting to make sure your cupcakes stick on the board, okay? So like for example, if I know it's gonna sit there, I'm gonna put a little bit of that on there and stick it here. But guys, just so you know, sometimes your cupcakes may not stick completely. So there's something we call glucose syrup. It looks like this. It's used for fondant. You can use it to stick your cupcakes on the board as well, especially if you know you're gonna be transporting it. Now it tends to be sticky, but that's why we use it, because it's gonna make sure those cupcakes stick very well. So I just take a little bit of glucose syrup and I stick on there, and I make sure my cupcakes stick there. You still have to be extremely careful with your delivery, guys, but this tends to stick it a little. See, it's not moving much. So if you're doing an order, if you're transporting this, you need to make sure you have these stuck completely. For my purposes, because I'm not going anywhere, I'm gonna make sure I stick this with a little bit of buttercream so that they can stay put as I'm decorating and finishing all the stuff you want. So you need to have at least a dozen cupcakes for this, guys, or 6, depending on how large you want this bouquet. Make sure you have enough cupcakes, or if your client has asked for a dozen, make sure you have the dozen cupcakes. So now guys, how do I decorate these? You can decorate any way you want, but the best way to pipe the buttercream on here is using the tip Either you can use 1M or 2D. It does really nice rosettes. So that's what I have here. I have a 2D, okay? So with my 2D here, I'm gonna pipe my rosettes with a really, really red buttercream on top of the cupcakes to finish this design off. So that's what I'm gonna do now. So you start from the inside as you go round and finish off like that, okay? So once again, start in the middle and go finishing like so. I'm gonna do the same here. Start in the middle as you do that. So I have really nice rosettes on top of there. It literally makes them look like roses. So the last part is I need to make sure I have flower stalks on my cupcake bouquet. So I'm gonna set this aside and fix that up, and I'm gonna do that by having some green fondant with me, okay? So guys, I have my green fondant ready right here, and you just need it to get it nice and soft and pliable, and then you're gonna start doing strips of stalks, okay? So you can have 3 or 4, as many as you want. I just wanna have like 4 or 5 on my cupcake bouquet. And once I just start rolling out, you know, this sort of even looking stalks of fondant. So next I just make another one and I start rolling it out. So the point is to have, you know, however many you've decided to have, and use your palm more than anything. Okay, so what I do is once I have those, I take my cupcake bouquet and I sort of start, first thing I'm going to do is sort of cut where I want to insert my little stalks. Then I put them in here. I arrange them somehow just to see how they're going to sit. You can overlap them the way you would any flower and have them sitting like this, right? So I have my stalks. And what I can do is come with my knife and sort of gently cut off the end, right? So I have some nice looking ends right here. Okay, so I have my bouquet stalks, my flower stalks right there. And like I said, you want to keep this, you always want to make sure you keep your fondant very well. So the last thing you can do actually is make a tiny bow to sort of match your little cupcake bouquet. And I'm gonna make this so simple and very tiny. Okay. You can make a small string even with your hands. And just have it look like a bow on top here. Okay. And if you want anything to stick, you can always stick them with some water if you're not happy with them the way they're sitting. But sometimes if you just press it on there, it tends to actually stick real nicely. So I have my little bow. Of course, you can get fancier with your bows, but this is good too. And there you go, guys. So I have a nice little complete. You can try and hide the stalks in there if you want to, but I think these look pretty good. Okay, and that's how we do that, guys. So guys, nice pretty cupcake bouquet that you can do for orders or for someone special. If you have a message, feel free to write it on any side, but at least you have the idea of how to make it. Just one tip I'll give you, if you're looking to make extremely red buttercream frosting, If you're looking to make really red buttercream frosting, like maybe like this or like this, I used 4R, like the Pale 4R color they use for red velvet, and then I put like a teaspoon or like a half teaspoon of cocoa powder. That tends to deepen it so it becomes a nice deep red. And then give it an hour sitting. You make the buttercream, give it an hour, let it sit, and then you can use it. It tends to give you a really nice deep shade of red. Okay guys, so all the best. I hope you're able to make these bouquets. Do share if you do. See you guys next time.